The Indian Air Force is not in a position to clarify on the number of casualties in the Balakot airstrike. That statement will be made by the government. That's the word coming in from the Chief of Air Staff of the IAF, Air Chief Marshal B.S. Dhanoa. Now, in his first media briefing after the IAF carried out what it called non-military preemptive strikes on terror camps across the LOC, the Air Chief Marshal said, and I quote, "We don't count human casualties, we count what targets we have hit or not hit." End of quote. Now, talking about the success of the airstrikes, the IAF chief said, and I quote again, "If we plan to hit the target, we hit the target. If we have dropped bombs in the jungle, there is no need for Pakistan to respond." End of quote.
The target has been clearly amplified by the Foreign Secretary in his statement. Yeah. And of course, if he planned to hit the target, we hit the target. Otherwise, why would he have responded?
ANI, please.
If he had dropped bombs in the jungle, there's no need for him to respond. No, I mean, Air Force is not in a position to clarify that how many people were inside it. That we don't count human casualties. We count what targets have we hit or not hit.
Time's up in there, please.
The bomb damage assessment that is done post a mission calculates the number of the target you've been hit or you've not been able to hit. We can't count how many people have died. That depends on how many people were there. MiG-21 Bison is capable. It has been upgraded. It is not the old MiG-21 BIS. It's got a better weapon system. It's got better radars, better air-to-air missiles, radar warning receivers, shaft flares, whatever it takes to make it, from 3rd generation to 3.5 generation or so. So it is an upgraded aircraft, and we fight with all the aircraft in our inventory. Whether he flies again or no depends on his medical fitness. That's why post ejection he has undergone a medical check. Thereafter, if required, whatever treatment is required will be given to him. Once he gets his medical fitness, and then only will he get into a fighter cockpit.
So while the Indian Air Force has left it to the government to share the information on the number of casualties during the Balakot airstrike, BJP Chief Amit Shah has claimed that over 250 terrorists were killed in the operation. This makes him the first BJP leader to have put out a number on record. However, the opposition has questioned his claims and has demanded proof of the damage inflicted on terror camps across the airstrike. Now, opposition parties have also accused the BJP of politicizing the India-Pakistan tensions.
नरेंद्र मोदी सरकारे बरोबर 13 दिवसे एयर स्ट्राइक करी 250 થી વધારે આતંકવાદીઓને 100 એક પણ કેઝ્યુઅલિટી બગર.
Prime Minister Modi accused Congress and other opposition parties of politicizing airstrikes. You, on the contrary, have held Prime Minister guilty of politicizing terror. Why do you say so?
Because the Prime Minister is talking about all this, not us. He is the one who is saying that, look, what a great victory. He's saying, Amit Shah is saying 250 people have been killed. We are not saying it. So why is he saying it? Because he knows that the 2019 election is around the corner, right? And the defense services have not given the numbers. So how does Mr. Amit Shah know? Where did he get this number from? Who told him? He's only a president of a party. He's not in government. And S.S. Ahluwalia, on the other hand, says that, look, the whole purpose of this exercise was only to send a message to Pakistan that if you do such a thing in India, or your terrorists attack us in this fashion and we lose 40 CRPF Jawans, then we have the ability not only to cross the border, but also teach you a lesson. So who is telling the truth? And if they are putting out these numbers, we have the right to ask questions.
300 people had died. What is the source of that information? I can tell you on record, ministers, one of the senior ministers planted this fake news. But can you imagine a senior minister like this putting out these numbers saying 250, 300 dead? This kind of political theatre is bad for this country. The Indian Army, the Indian Navy, the Indian Air Force, these belong to India, to the people of India.
All right, staying with political headlines of the day, the Congress may join the UP Grand Alliance. Sources say the party has revived talks with SP and BSP and has been offered 9 Lok Sabha seats. The party is also believed to be exploring the option of forging an alliance in New Delhi. Also, Congress's alliance talks in Jharkhand, Tamil Nadu, Bihar and Maharashtra are believed to be in final stages. Now here's an update on the draft e-commerce policy. Sources have told CNBC TV 18 that the industry is seeking an extension of the deadline for feedback on the policy. DPIIT published the 40-page draft policy on the 23rd of February with a deadline for feedbacks until March 9th. Mugdha Varia brings us more details on this story. Mugdha, what are the concerns that the industry has raised?
Yes, Atu. Ever since the draft policy was published, there has been a rush in the industry to hold consultations and discussions internally as well as industry-wide to formulate feedback on certain key issues. And while different players may differ on certain issues, they are unanimous that the 2-week deadline is very short, especially since it is a 40-page document, and has extensive coverage of issues ranging from data storage to data localization. And, hence they're asking for an extension of at least giving them a full month since the publication of the draft policy to give their feedback. Now, several industry associations such as FICCI and IM have already held discussions on the draft policy, while certain other associations such as NASSCOM and India Tech have also sought comments from their members. And sources tell us that while some of these associations have already reached out to the government, with a request to extend the deadline, the other associations will reach out as well in the next few days. Sources tell us that, during these industry discussions, there were several concerns raised about certain issues on data sharing and data localization, especially because many of it has already been addressed by the Sri Krishna Committee in its data protection framework. And, there is also concern that the policy may impact innovation, because remember it proposes that to give government access to the source code and algorithms, which the industry feels will hit at the IP that the companies are building. And lastly, there are also concerns of operational costs in adhering to some of these clauses. So yes, overall, the industry does feel that they do need more time to come out with, very concrete feedback on the policy.
All right, Mugdha, thank you very much for bringing us that update. We'll leave it there. Now here's news from the aviation sector. Debt-ridden Jet Airways has grounded 2 more aircrafts for non-payment of dues to lessors, taking the total number of planes out of operation for Jet to 25. The airline today said that it is actively engaged with all the aircraft lessors and is regularly providing them with updates on the efforts undertaken to improve its cash position. Further, Jet Airways has said it is making all efforts to minimize disruption to its network and is proactively informing and re-accommodating its affected guests. Jet Airways announced the grounding of 4 of its planes on Feb 7th, another 2 on Feb 23rd, followed by 7 on Feb 27th and 6 on Feb 28th. Later, 2 more aircrafts were grounded each on the 1st and 2nd of March. Now, as per the company's website, it has a total of 119 aircrafts, and with the latest addition of 2 to the grounded aircrafts, over 20% of its planes are now out of operation. Electric vehicles are the way forward, and there is scope for better integration and value addition in the steel sector. That's a word from Sachin Jindal, chairman of JSW Group, who in an exclusive conversation with CNBC TV 18, Anshu Sharma said that the group's future plans, they detailed what the group's future plans were. Listen in to that conversation.
So, are you planning to diversify your business from steel, get into some new businesses?
Actually, I would say that steel itself is so diverse. There are so many hundreds of different things that one can produce steel. There's so many ways of doing backward integration, forward integration. Say even like car making, we just feel that we make steel for the cars, and now we can just making like say electric vehicles. So everything is related. Everything that's like in a way forward integration, value addition. So steel is such a wide subject, and then to be really, really good in something, it's best not to diversify too much, to be really strong in your own field rather than divert your energies into too many places.
But Mr. Sachin Jindal, you are entering into electric vehicle segment, and reports suggest that you're buying GM's operation here in India. You're already setting up all your plant. FAME 2 has been approved by cabinet. So take us through, what are you planning?
No, I think electric vehicle is the future. It's very clear that globally the fossil fuel is towards its final leg, and everybody is looking at newer age mobility, newer age telecommunications. Everything is changing very fast. The world around us is changing very fast. So the idea is to enter into this business and be the provide the head start in this business. And I hope that we are successful in this activity.
Any commitment on FAME 2, considering that every policy bit is now there in place?
No, that's the government's very, very positive move on FAME 2, but every country has actually already done that. If you look at China, they have already far ahead of India on electric vehicles and the electric mobility rather. And I'm sure India has to move very quickly onto this, because we are dependent on 100% or 80% of our oil is imported. So we have to look at electric mobility very quickly.
When are you planning to close down on the deal with General Motors here in India?
I don't want to sound very specific about it, because I really don't know how long it takes. Whether we do close that deal, even that is not sure, because it's still under negotiations and we are still discussing.
Okay. Do you have any plans to enter into any other business other than steel? Because Abhyuday has joined Jindal Stainless. Is there any new idea that he's bringing up?
Well, he is bringing some new ideas, but right now I think in stainless steel itself there's so much scope. In fact, our Odisha plant, Jindal Stainless, has a inbuilt, the infrastructure is for 3.6 million ton stainless steel. We have hardly reached 1 million. So we will first expand that, because with very little investment we can take it to 3.2 to 3.6 million tons. But we are still under little bit CDR and other formalities which we have to get out of it. And so first we would like to expand Odisha, to 3.2 million tons, and then we will think of other things.
Okay. Yeah. Now let me ask you, globally, steel as in trade, countries are closing down on imports. What are your views on it? Because recently there have been reports that Indian companies are looking for MIP because there's a lot of dumping. What is your view on the global trade that is happening with regards to steel specifically?
I think steel is, globally is become a very sensitive industry from a point of view of localization. If you look at United States, they have they have put a safeguard duty. Europe has put safeguard duty. So many other countries have done the same thing. Turkey has done. Brazil has done. So there is a big move that if we don't protect our industry, because steel happens to be a very heavy industry in any country, and therefore is very critical, and is also from a security point of view a very important industry. So therefore every country is now trying to protect their home steel industry. So that's why there is a move in the government to look at whether the imports which were going, or exports which were going to US and Europe, will they get diverted to India? So therefore should the Indian industry be protected? So that's a thought. We don't know what's the outcome of it.
More or less third generation is in all of your businesses now. So what are your expectations, and do you expect that the core value will remain there?
Well, I'm pretty sure of that. Our next generation is very, very capable, very, very focused. So I'm really proud of that my next generation, Abhyuday, Parth and Venkatesh, they're all fantastic boys. So, future belongs to them. Thank you.
Any generation gap that is there between the second and the third generation?
Of course, I think generational gap is always there. Differences are always there. Like we used to have.
How do you deal with it?
We used to have differences with our father, so our kids have differences with us. We deal with them. We deal with them in a mature manner. It's fun also. It's interesting also at times, but it's good. And kids nowadays are very smart. So we also get to learn a lot of things from them.
How will the second and third generation move forward in the next 5 years in terms of your businesses?
So see, as far as businesses, they're all friends with each other. They keep consulting each other. But businesses are all at arm's length. So there aren't any, there's no interdependence between any of the businesses. So they are cousins, and they are brothers, and they are friends, and they enjoy with each other, and they work with each other.
Right, you can catch that entire conversation with the Jindal brothers through the week right here on CNBC TV 18. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of What's Hot. But before we go, Elon Musk's SpaceX inched closer to human space flight after its unmanned rocket Dragon had a successful launch. The capsule is now docked with the International Space Station, and NBC News' Kathy Park filed this report earlier.
250 miles above Earth, the first commercial spacecraft designed to carry humans hitting its mark.
We have confirmation of a soft capture of the Dragon spacecraft to the International Space Station.
Then, another dramatic moment. Astronauts on the ISS make their way into the unmanned vessel.
There he is, David inside of Dragon. Human beings inside the Dragon spacecraft.
Floating inside, they met a mannequin passenger sitting in the corner, giving everyone back home a look at this spacecraft of the future.
Welcome to the Crew Dragon.
It all followed a spectacular launch from the Kennedy Space Center just 27 hours before.
A live view of the Falcon 9 rocket as it ascends through the atmosphere.
There's a lot riding on this 6-day demo before the Dragon capsule heads home Friday. If all goes well, the next test will launch 2 astronauts as early as July.
We may push a button or two to demonstrate that we have the capability to intervene if we need to, but the vehicle is pretty much going to do the work autonomously, just like it did today.
Boeing isn't far behind with its own unmanned launch planned for next month, as a new space race sets off.
Right now,
Kathy Park, NBC News, New York.